Hey, welcome folks to another edition of the Bearcat Foundation Craig Bentley Coaches Show. I'd like to thank our sponsors, University of Arkansas at Rich Mountain, as well as Sterling Machinery, Mena Insurance, and Union Bank of Mena. Without them, we wouldn't be able to bring this. And they're also sponsors of the live stream broadcast, and we actually had a successful broadcast. So apologize again to people to the problems that we've had in the past, and we're taking steps constantly. It may not look like it, but we're trying to get more consistent to where we can keep that thing on the air. And
a lot of hard work going into it to make it in that transitional period of some things, and so it'll get there. And we appreciate it.
It's just been a true fight with this equipment, and it seems like it's a constant. We just had a bunch of little issues and things breaking on us, and it's things that are really hard to predict. But anyway, enough of my whining. That's what a great night of football.
It was
great weather.
It was a fun night. Yeah, great evening, and the game that again, kind of an interesting game. I was thinking about. I think it's the first time we've ever played Riverview, and they're a 4A school. I know some people were wondering about that. And they're a 4A high school, and that'll probably, unless you see them in the playoffs somewhere down the road, maybe the last time we play them. We're not going back there next year. So
okay,
interesting game, and glad we were able to get it and win it the way we did. I thought that was important. So it was a good night for Bearcat football.
Well, saying you see them walking out in warm-ups, and we lost warm-ups again. And,
some good athletes. I mean, they're running back, and he's actually a sophomore. Really good back. A couple other really good athletes, and they're young. So we knew we were going to face some challenges going into it, which was good for us, especially coming off a pretty tough loss against a good Lincoln team. And so we wanted to come out of the last Friday night seeing some growth and not just getting a win. We felt good about where we were standing as far as that goes, as far as the win-loss goes, but we wanted to win in a certain way, and I felt like we were able to do that. So happy and proud for our kids.
It was excellent. Well, let's get right into it. Let's take a look at it was a great offensive performance. I know we were going over the stats,
and really, this is our second week in a row that we've busted over 400 yards of offense. And offense has been a little up and down, but we've been explosive at times and moved the ball well when we needed to. We've made a lot of mistakes really on both sides of the ball, but offensively specifically, we've been the ones to stop ourselves all year long with some turnover situations and not being able to start out the first half of every game. So we came out here and really happy with how we started out. We wanted to establish our run game early, and I felt like we did that. Good run here by Michael Sullivan. He had over 100 yards rushing again, and just like I said, him and Brody Peters, to have both those guys being able to be back there and kind of being that thunder and running hard, and just a really good.
Sorry, I got a bench break in here, but this block by Rocha, as far as the pull and then getting up the field. And he's just got great instincts as to what he targets when he's on that pull.
Yeah, good pull, good technique. You can see his technique's really good, and he's getting around. And he seals off that downcoming safety or linebacker right there. So really good job by our young guard there, Max Roach.
Does he get two people?
And it looks like he eats up,
like
takes up a couple.
Another.
I think one of them goes kind of low, so he just kind of shoves him to the ground, and then he comes up to the next guy, but. Really well blocked all the way around. A good movement, really good movement by our offensive line. I don't think we have the end zone version of that right there, but really good movement there. And a good hard run by Mike, who gets kind of stopped in the traffic for a minute, but really turns those feet and picks those knees up and gets us a good run. And we established the tone early. I think we started out the game with 3 straight runs, and we got down in a 3rd and 1 situation there. They kind of buckled down on us in the end zone, and Coach Arnold, who also doubles. I know he's our defensive coordinator, but he also doubles as our running backs coach, and he's always harping on these guys about their fakes. And really good job by Brody and Michael selling these fakes off the play action run, and just that little bit of fake. They're blitzing off the edge, and that's a tough blitz, but Brody and Michael do such a great job on the fake that it freezes up that outside backer. And Dax does just an outstanding job staying calm and pressure right here. I mean, it's that little bit of hitch and gives him a little bit of a shoulder fake, and it freezes him just that little bit of extra. and able to find Isaiah Day there in the end zone. So really good job by our backs. Of course, big arms and they say one good fake is as good as two or three, whatever. So um, just a really good job.
That freeze is all it took, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's necessary because if they're not running hard, if they're not acting like they have the ball, that outside backer doesn't have anything to worry about. He just comes off and tackles the quarterback. And then again, a good job by Dax getting his depth on that rollout, giving that little bit of shimmy move there by his shoulder, and then staying calm enough to make a throw there.
It's interesting you talk about Coach Arnold because those details. It's the number of details you can actually get across to the kids because a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
When you're going through run throughs, these particular plays, they're play action off of. They do them hundreds, maybe even more, thousands of repetitions of that
during the week,
and it's so easy to get lazy on that.
Yeah, especially when you're not getting the ball, right? I mean, that's the
Yep.
total unselfish, selfless play.
You're asking him to put forth that extra bit of energy to try to sell something, and that's not something when I was watching the game live and the fans in the stand, nobody notices that. But
right.
It helps the team perform better, and in order to the training, it took hundreds of repetitions to get them to where they're over and over and over, and that's a great job by Coach Arnold teaching that.
And being able to establish the run helps that as well too, because that guy, if the run game's not settled and our backs aren't running hard and all that stuff, then it becomes a little bit more difficult to trust and honor that. So a good job running hard and selling those fakes really opened up our play action pass game off of it. Thought the defense played well overall all night. They didn't give up. The first group varsity defense didn't give up a touchdown. Got in position, were better. Again, big backs and good athletic backs, and what we didn't do very well against Lincoln, I thought we did well Friday night. Good field here by Sean Sullivan, who plays linebacker for us, and Brody Peters coming off. They've really kind of taken their game to the next level at linebacker and doing a nice little combo tackle there on a good back. But, we talk about one of our one of our ways we have to consistently win is making plays in space, and on defense that means we got to make tackles in space and so I did not,
easier said than done.
Right, it's definitely easier said than done. If you try to do it, one-on-one, a lot of times the defense is going to lose. But you go and do it as a unit or as a group, it becomes a lot easier. So really good job here by Sean and Brody getting down and getting a good scrape and read on the play and making a good defensive football play right there. Another good job here again, really good back, good toss here. You see him, having nowhere to go. Guy Sanderson he's had a really good, solid start to the season. He's a young sophomore, big kid, long arm, body, and very strong, and been really, really proud of him. You can see him taking on this block, and he knows his job, and he's got a big line. In fact, I thought he was a lineman, but he's a daggum H-back because he's so big.
Huge.
But Geis does a good job battling this and spreading it out, and Caleb Cox, this is something probably a lot of people don't see, right, or notice. Caleb, if he jumps inside there, we're in trouble because he's the corner down here.
Yeah, we didn't notice that live. I just noticed.
Yeah, if he jumps inside, we're in trouble. But he does his job and he stays outside of Geis there, and it forces that running back inside where everybody's flying down to the football. So it takes that. That's what we're talking about. Again, I didn't think we did a great job of that 2 weeks ago. When we traveled to Lincoln, we kind of got overly ambitious on some of our angles and whatnot. And when you're playing a really good running back and you're playing someone with some speed and someone who can move, you have to force them to change directions a lot.
And that's so hard. You guys be able to teach these kids as a coaching staff, to be able to teach them to do their job, even though it doesn't show up in the stat book.
Yeah, exactly.
And mom and dad don't notice you didn't make a tackle, and nobody's going to talk about this play for Caleb. And like I said, I confessed I didn't notice it. I was watching Geis. I thought he did a good job of keeping his nose out of the ball and doing his job.
Well, and I'll go back to it before we move on too. A great job by the defensive line, getting down the line. That's what you try to teach those guys is, instead of going upfield, your job's not over when you realize now upfield, turn your direction and get down the line to go make that play. So just a really good job overall by all those guys. Yeah, like you were saying, it's like when I used to specifically just coach linebackers years ago, and you tell them, hey, if you go and you plug up that gap where that running back's supposed to go through, that's just as good as a tackle. It's not going to show up on a stat sheet, but you made him change direction. You made him go where he didn't want to go, and probably likely into somebody else. So again, I was really proud of our unit there, the defensive unit who kind of worked to fix some things, and that's something we're going to have to do to be successful going forward. Not just Friday night. I mean, we're going to face some really good backs and some really good skill players,
amazing speed,
and things like that. And if we do it together as a unit, we're going to have a chance to be successful here. Good play here. Again, good job here by our offensive line, giving Dak some time to find the open man and being a little bit nasty there. Good job by Caleb Cox on a.
How many pancakes do you get on a pass block situation?
Yeah,
we were amazed by
that was.
He did not expect
no.
Max to come forward.
Max, he thought he was just going to be able to catch him, and then that's what we like to see, man. Like, look at these guys right here. There's several of them on their knees right here and falling down, and
Hunter
really
gave the guy a push.
Really good job by our offensive line. Good movement around in the pocket for Dax and not bailing out, and a good job by Caleb going up to get it. This was another good job by Dax too, because this play call was actually meant for either Sean or Elijah at X or Z. It was kind of a double move, and Dax realizes that initial play isn't there, so it was just a great job by him to throw that secondary route concept instead of trying to force what wasn't there. And that's what he did a great job with all night was his decision making, and
boy,
really,
he placed the balls. Corey, we expect that because we've watched him so much. Is that mid to long range ball he can place with such accuracy.
Well, and there was another play. Again, it ended up being a broken play, and he handled it tremendously. Where the initial thought of where we're going to throw that ball wasn't there, and I think in the earlier games he was kind of forcing that throw. And Friday night he made that check down, and he fixed it. He fixed it. That's a big thing. We tell him, fix it. If it's a broken play, fix it. Whatever you can do, and because very rarely do things work out. Yeah, very rarely do things work out perfectly, and so.
It's just it seems like as we're watching it, we're just watching the game slow down for him.
That's a great way to describe it. That's really what it felt like to him. This is, of course, if you. Some coaches don't want to show stuff on film. I mean, if you watch us, this is going to be a play we're going to run, and we've been able to succeed at pretty tremendous. But Brody Peters doing a good job running this play and just running fast and running with his head down. And this is a tough play to defend, and we've been running it pretty well. And again, just a good run there by Brody.
It seems like as we've run that, we've just gotten better and better at that backfield motion, and that's super effective.
Yeah, we've
seen it, and it's still deceptive.
Yeah, it's something that that play is one that you run 3 or 4 times a game, maybe something like that. But it's something that you've got to spend. If you're an opposing coach, you've got to spend time on it because it's a dangerous football play. And again, we're blessed with 2 really good backs. So, Michael may be hitting you hard one way, and then he hands it off underneath there to Brody, who. And then you over pursue so much to come tackle Michael. It's a great football play, and our kids have done a really good job.
When you've developed, we've developed 3 or 4 deadly. There's 3 or 4 possibilities across that offensive line that are going to come up with a big play, put somebody on their back,
absolutely
really move them back, and get to that second level. And that when it happens on that play, and they got to have that hesitation in the second level, the linebackers. Really ups your potential to get big plays.
Yeah, for sure.
It happens.
And so here's another good play. This is one of my favorite all-time football plays, mainly because I caught a lot of passes on it when I was undersized, not fast receiver. And these guys are a lot faster than I was, but just a good job by Dax here, reading that backer and making the throw to open guy. We finally got Hay to catch. That was his first catch of the year.
His first catch of the year.
Caught a touch. And he's a really good receiver, obviously. If you've been in any of our games and just whatever, he is. And just for whatever reason, he hadn't got the ball very much, and so just a really good route. Great job by Caleb and him both. They look like they're on a string turning at the same time. And again, you go back to one of those unsung things is Elijah Smith down here at the bottom forcing that outside release. If he cuts inside of that corner's probably able to come down and make that play. But because he's running wide, it opens it up. So everything plays off each other, and again, a good read by Dax there off that linebacker to get
Well, one of the things
touchdown.
I've noticed as a fan is, it seems like this year you've got the receivers are paying way more attention to the little details as far as going into the breaks and out of the breaks and doing it with discipline. Even
Yeah.
the backside, it seems like all the way across the board. I've noticed it out of Elijah, Sean, and then Trip and then IE. Right there, that was a good crisp
Yeah.
break. He didn't just round that thing off. I mean, he
a lot
he
of
did
time spent on the, like you said, the intricate details of the route running. We still have some things to do. We need to get a lot better at spacing. That's something we've, with the bye week this week, we've worked a lot on is our spacing. Even in that play, really, our spacing wasn't great. But the spacing pre-snap for our receivers is something we got. But they've done an outstanding job, and Coach and Kobe Morris and those guys have worked really hard with the receivers. And
Okay, so explain this to me, because my daughter and all the boys get together and I ask this question and they go, Coach.
oh yeah,
How on earth does the guy get that nickname?
yeah. Well, that's his name. Yeah, that's his last name. He is Coach. Yeah, yes. It's Cody Coach. Cody Coach is his name. He's our new coach. He's coaching. I've said coach now 20 times now. I feel like I've said it 100 times. But yeah, it's an interesting.
Why didn't anybody tell me that? I mean, it's a simple. I was expecting an elaborate story.
Maybe that. No, there's no elaborate. I mean, he is Coach. He doesn't prefer Coach K or anything like that because it's Koch. So he prefers Coach, and it can get a little bit confusing and whatnot at times. But
yeah, hey Coach.
So
that's really hard.
He turns around every time.
What's his first name?
Cody.
Cody.
So,
okay.
Yeah, but he's done a really good job, and along with Coach Morris with our receivers and our secondary. Yeah, so it was easy for him. We're proud to have him. He came. He's from Greenwood originally. Played in some state championships, and was over at Clarksville. And when I called to or do a reference check on him, everybody there just loved him and spoke super highly of him.
That's awesome.
Came over here and did a great job, and so we're excited to have him here. He's done really well. Another good run here by Michael again, just showing some good vision. Again, good movement by Carter Cossey, putting somebody. Again, we talked about pancakes earlier, so Carter Cossey there at left tackle, just putting people over. Kyler Hasty getting nasty there. We just like seeing him get nasty and get physical right there. Another good pull and good vision. You can see Zay Day on the top. Take his guy and push him all the way down in the back there, and just very, very good physical movement blocking, and Michael with great vision to keep this play and run alive as he goes. He had a really good night.
He really did, boy. And what did he have, 14, 15 carries?
Yeah, something like that.
He stayed strong his 14th and 15th.
And it's sure nice, again, like we've talked about, to have two guys that can just run the ball so well. And Ryder House got in here. Ryder's someone who'll see a little bit more time. He's a sophomore, playing some H and playing that sniffer blocking back for us. He even got a carry in this game as well too. So Ryder's done a good job being a physical back for us, and we're excited about things he can do. But Brody Peters jumping in here and again is a really talented runner. He plays that H position a lot too. But him and Michael kind of rotate and float around a lot. And it's kind of like a hot hand moment thing or whatever. But Brody does a really good job showing his speed here and his burst once he sees this gap and just gets in the end zone and keeps them knees driving up and really good.
He just commits to that hole and gets in it in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean, you just see he's patient and letting it develop there, and then just a good burst all the way through. So really good run there. Good throw and catch here from Dax to Elijah Smith.
And that was amazing. We had one on the sideline. It was out of bounds, but that was another well placed ball. He placed so many in through tight windows. I mean, he just had a great performance.
And a good job by Dax or by Elijah going up catching this ball in some traffic. But a good drop. His footwork's pretty good. He pushes off that back foot and throws that ball up to Elijah. And a good job by the O-line again, giving him some time to throw and good throw, good catch, good job by Elijah on concentration, and then staying up to go in and get it there. And Elijah had a good game. I think he had 5 catches for 89 yards and a touchdown there. So
that was another big time play by Max. Got his helmet ripped off.
Yeah. He and a good job here by Dax. You see that little bit initial look to the left there on the throw, and then he sees, he's probably really wanting to take Sean here, on this one-on-one at the bottom. But this corner played pretty good and was a pretty athletic corner, and he's in pretty good position on top of that route. So good job by Dax seeing his initial read, checking back over and throwing that ball up. And we tell them, hey, if they're even, you're leaving, so give them a chance to go up and throw and catch that football. So really good job by all those guys. And then Hyde's a really good defense. I mean, I don't know if you know this, he's a good kicker too. I don't have this highlighted here, but Hyde kicks another, I think, a 33-yard field goal. It was 14-0 at that point. We kind of faltered out a little bit in that drive, and again, it got in there and gave us turned a 2-possession into a 3-possession game early on. And so he's
huge
five
weapon.
for 5 on field goals this year, and has only missed 1 extra point. And it wasn't on him; that extra point was blocked. So has done a really good job, and good job. I mean, ball's kind of just there, but he still has to go up and get it. And a good job by Hyde being in position to intercept that ball, but not only them being satisfied with that, but also getting in and going to score, and knowing, in a situation like that, like, oh my gosh, okay, please let there be no stupid penalties, nobody blocks in the back or anything like that. And again, Hyde had a really good game. Again, I had that receiving touchdown earlier, the field goal, and so by himself, he's scoring 16 points plus count the 5 extra points. He's 5 for 5 on extra points. So
Amazing.
really nice job by him here. Again, a good job on defense. Really good tackle by Caleb Cox here. He's a great tackler. He's starting to really understand his position and knowing how to play out of that position. And
guess we can say this because we're not playing them next year. Because boy, it seemed like we just broke their will.
Yeah.
You look at that running back, and that's not near the effort.
No, and what I like seeing too is the rest of us are flying there and getting in pretty good position to make plays and tackles. So a really good open field tackle here by Caleb. And
boy, Caleb, if he just keeps progressing, he's got such a athletic. You can see it.
Yeah, for sure.
Fast twitch athletic.
And again, I like seeing the defense. Mason Sullivan is another great defensive lineman, just getting out, just a pure out effort play, because he's back there. He's number 54. He breaks through pretty easy, but it's a toss, so he's not able to get there. And he could have stayed there. A lot of high school linemen are just going to stay there, but he hustles back and tries to get in position here. So love seeing these, not fancy, plays that aren't going to get the stat book, but they're going to pay off for us at some point, down the road.
Somebody's going to come back and it won't be there if he continues to do that.
Good job here again, creating havoc in the backfield. That's Mason Sullivan actually right there. Again, not getting blocked and very well, and Mason's got a great fire off and seems to find a way to get in the backfield and cause havoc. And a good job by Geis. I was laughing at Geis here because watching it live, you can't tell as much right here, but watching Geis, he's like holding that back away to try to let somebody else get that ball. Now I think they ended up getting back on top of it.
He continued to attack that guy in the effort to.
Yeah, but a great job by all those guys and creating that penetration, but being disciplined and patient enough to cause some havoc back there.
One name I want to mention is Jimmy Glenn. He showed up on the tackle.
Oh yeah. Jimmy did a great job, and really proud of him too. We're booking in both of our outside backer positions with sophomores, and they're not playing like sophomores. Thankfully, they're doing a really good job and playing physical football, and they're coachable and understanding everything there. And again, this is the play we talked about earlier, getting in and Brody doing a good job, pushing it to mercy rule, at that point. So a good job there. So, and again, we had another good, again, felt like it was a really good night for our quarterback as far as growth goes. Saw a lot of great decision making by him, and offensive line got a little bit back on track. Now we're going to face some really good defensive lines, including in a week and a half or whatever when we get off our bye week. But that game for us was one we needed. We needed it in a certain way, and I felt like we got that. I think it definitely pushed us in a positive manner forward.
It happened is cool because we had. I mean, the running game was there the game before, but with the mistakes, it takes you out of that count, and so you're not able to have those sustained drives. But it seemed like that was a story all night long for us.
Yeah, and
sustained drives.
We struggled. Something we struggled with putting the ball on the ground, and we didn't do that. We've got to continue not to put the ball on the ground. And again, we turned the ball over through the air a little bit a couple weeks ago, and and some of those were forced throws and whatnot, and And fixing that into Friday night was a big leap forward for us, for in the backfield, at quarterback, everywhere. So.
Yeah, it's just awesome to see that progression with Dak, because he's a kid that we both know. I mean, he wants it so bad, and that effort, and it's great to see him have the kind of success that he expects.
And he works at it. Doesn't come by accident. I mean,
Yep.
he comes up on the weekend and watches film, and he's all we're always getting him. He puts the time and effort into working to be as hard as he can. And so
What's
it's
cool,
not by any
because a
mistake.
lot of times we've talked about it. You almost think he's thinking about it too much. It's almost like he just lets the game come to him.
And that can, right. I mean, and there's that happy medium, right?
Yep.
Of thinking too much or letting the game come to you naturally with your preparation. And so,
It's so
really,
hard
really
to
good job.
verbalize that to a
Yeah,
kid.
for
Like,
sure.
okay, we want you to think about this stuff, but yet you might be thinking about it too
Don't
much.
overthink.
And then he just keeps getting better every week. And I just didn't expect that kind of progression in 1 week like that, because he's been progressive before. It's nothing to say about what's happened before, what you expect from a sophomore, because we've seen sophomores play before. And so, the struggle is expected. But to have that in 1 week progression, because he saw some adversity. He faced
for
some
sure
adversity
he did, and
in this game.
Then the other end of it is too. I was proud of our team overall and our minimalizing penalties. Penalties
that helps.
absolutely killed us.
Yeah, that really helps your quarterback.
And
good point.
But it's like I told our guys this morning. We didn't. Of course, we harped on it, worked on fixing the unsportsmanlike and the personal fouls and all that. But things were going pretty good for us.
Exactly. We didn't see an adversity.
So, our journey is going to continue to be like this, and especially as young as we are, and the conference we play in, and the talented teams we see.
Because we're going to see adversity.
3 of the 4
Handle
teams
it.
that we see over the next 3 weeks were 3 of the final 4 teams in the state last year. Nashville, Arkadelphia, and Malvern were all in the final 4 of the playoffs last year. And so, we're excited about that challenge, and we think we're set up in a situation to go compete and put ourselves in position to win.
I think they believe it too, don't they? They believe they're one of these teams. They're not going to go in those things thinking they're going to roll their helmet out there.
Absolutely. And so they understand the challenge that's in front of them, but they're excited about it. A lot of these, what I like to hear and see is the individual conversations with the kids of knowing what we have to do to go out and do well. It's not a man we've got to, it's a man I can't wait to.
It really shows up defensively, like we've been talking about that. Do your job, fill your gap, and it didn't get tested as much last night. But when you face the Arkadelphia, Nashville, Malvern stretch, they're going to have the capabilities to find the guy that's not doing his job, that's trying to go get the tackle.
And I think a big part of it too is taking away those one-on-one opportunities.
Exactly.
We don't want as many one-on-one. We want to win our game defensively and offensively, as a group and as a team. And I know everybody kind of says that, and it's kind of cliche, but for us, especially if we try to get in one-on-one battles with guys, that's not how we can win. We can win, doing things as a group, doing things as a unit. That may be a linebacking group, that may be a D-line group, maybe a secondary group, whatever it may be. But we've got to avoid the one-on-one battles on both sides of it. It could be an offensive line group and turn it into a group and team game for us to be successful. And I thought we took great steps in that because even, I think we had the superior offensive and defensive line against Riverview. Yes, absolutely. But still some pretty good athletes. 17 was a really good receiver out there. He caught a big
that's very true.
Caught
He
a
caught
pass
one
on
of
us
the
early.
punts. I don't know. Can you call those passes?
Yeah, he caught one of those dive bombers. And again, 7 was a really good back. One thing I was a little disappointed in was our, you've heard me talk about last couple of weeks, the 10 things we've got to do to win. It has nothing to do with speed and athleticism and strength. We got to win the special teams. So, they returned a kick on us. We got to figure that out. There was only 5 holds and pull downs in that return, but we won't talk about that. But still, regardless, it wasn't called. They got, we didn't do a good job, being safety there at the end there. So we've got to fix that part of it. But really pleased and excited, to get in this conference season.
Absolutely. Well, Coach, we didn't talk about whether or not we were going to do this, but did you pick an offensive player?
Yeah, so we have 2 players of the game. We have our Farm Bureau player of the game, and that was Dax. He was 15 and 19, threw for 196 and 3 touchdowns, and then we have our Mena Star Diamond Bank player of the game. and that was Elijah Smith with
Elijah
5
Smith,
catches,
yes.
5 catches,
He
89
was
yards.
pushing 100 yards there.
Yeah, he was at 5 catches, 89 yards, made some big plays, caught a big conversion pass earlier as well too. So he had a really good football game.
Really good game. Well, so looking forward to next week. We have the bye week. Then, do you have any injuries, and everybody can start healing up a little bit, and then it's on to Arkadelphia. And so with that, we'll sign off. Let's thank our sponsors again. University of Arkansas at Rich Mountain, as well as Sterling Machinery, Mena Insurance, and Union Bank of Mena, hometown banking at its best. And with that, we'll see you next week. Well, the week after.